Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a wonderful Friday, guys. TGIF. It's time to go out there and kick back with your friends and have a good time and relax after a long work week. Shit. That shit doesn't apply anymore. Is TGIF even a thing anymore? Are we allowed to say that? I mean, work weeks aren't what they used to be, and you're not allowed to hang out with your friends. And if you do, you're probably arguing about race relations. So fuck it. Stay home and have a drink and watch me. It's a lot more fun and a lot less irritating, I assure you. For some of you. Guys, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed as hell. I went to sleep last night instead of doing a show. Got up from the last night's show and suddenly got tired. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to crawl into bed. And I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. And that started off irritated monkey day. I laid back down and went to sleep, or tried to go back to sleep. It didn't take. It just didn't take. So I did what monkey does, and I went to Twitter. And, you know, it's not that I saw so many things that really annoyed me this time. It's really not. I watched Dave Chappelle's special that had been put out by Netflix, where he talks about George Floyd, and I didn't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. For most of it, at least I understood what he was trying to say, what he was getting at. He wasn't being funny, you guys, at all. It was actually quite a powerful piece. It's like 30 minutes of him talking about what was going on and some other things that have happened. But there was one part that kept irritating me. And it's what's been irritating me about this whole George Floyd situation. What happened to George Floyd was horrendous. Absolutely. I've not been shy at all about calling it murder since the beginning. I've had people get mad at me. You can't call it murder, monkey. The fuck I can't. What happened to him was tragic. It was a travesty. And then you had people, but what about what he used to be in life? He was high that day, monkey. Shut up. Some of you motherfuckers are high while you say that. That doesn't give somebody the right to kneel down on your fucking neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds until you stop being. That's a wonderful part of this. The people who I know brag about getting high, but he was high that day, monkey. Shut the fuck up, you hypocritical piece of shit. Pumpkin Trucker Matt, thank you. What sorcery is this? Monk actually on while I'm up? It must be my birthday. No, it really isn't. Please don't sing. Have a good stream, bud. Thank you very much. And I do want to warn you guys, this may get to the point where I'm into a rant where I ignore donations for a few minutes. And if it does, I will get to them. I promise you. But if I get into a rhythm on this, it may take on a mind of its own. Yes, you have all these people, but he was high, monkey. He used to be a bad person, monkey. And you know what? He was. George Floyd was a bad man. But what happened to him that day is not something that should happen to anybody. A police officer kneeled on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds while two other men were straddling the rest of his back, one on his back and one on his legs. And a fourth officer stood there like, get away. Don't stop them from murdering this man. We're trying to commit murder in public in peace, please. And you have people who deny that that's what happened. But monkey, he might have died of something else. He wouldn't have died if that didn't happen, so stop it. There's no question about that. There's no question. You think they just happened to accidentally kneel on him at the right time? And like, oh, shit. We kneeled on him right as he was having a heart attack. Fuck. Stop it. Stop it. However, that doesn't mean we need a race war. It doesn't mean that the races are being treated unequally in the United States. It doesn't mean that police are targeting black people more than they're targeting white people or anyone else. And the notion that they are is not backed up by any of the facts. Then you have some liberals, now's not the right time to talk about what happens to white people too. Yes, it is. It's absolutely the time to talk about it. This is the last linchpin they have, you guys, to keep the races fighting with each other. This is it. If people start paying attention to the reality, we might actually come together as a nation rather than as Black Americans and white Americans and Asian Americans and Latino Americans and whatever fucking kind of American you want to break it down into. We might come together as Americans and say, no, what happened to George was wrong. So we got to make it about the race. We got to keep people fighting with each other, because if they notice the truth, well, then the race card goes away. And then what? What happens when the race card goes away? Well, shit. You know how much easier it is to distract people when you just go, white people don't like black people. You know how much easier it is to distract people with that card? What are you going to do? Men against women? That one doesn't play. What are you going to do? The class card, which is the one they really, really want to play. The class card keeps us all fighting. But it's America, man. Even our poor people are pretty well off. And I know somebody, Monkey, I know somebody who's eating out of a dumpster. Yeah, there are some very poor people. But for the most part, our poor are rich in everywhere, every other country in the land. All across the globe. Our poor people are kings in some countries. You're not going to make that class warfare shit work here. They've tried for decades, man. Decades. Doesn't work. So what happens? Race war. Got to have the race. It's the only one that is consistently divided America. And it's because of the sins of our past. We owned people based on their color. And that is a horrible, despicable thing. And we fought a war to end it. And then even with that war, we didn't actually give people the rights they should have had. The guarantee of every man being created equal. It was a ongoing sin that we allowed to happen for more than a century after the war ended. So when you saw the movements of the 60s, and this time instead of the 1860s, the 1960s, and then the shit starts to actually settle down and laws are actually changed and rights are actually granted and things are where they should be. And now we have to start paying attention to individual incidents. And people will name off, but there was Trayvon Martin and Ahmaud Arbery and a whole bunch of people who weren't killed by police. And if they do get to the ones that are killed by police, it's still a name after name after name. But it's not like hundreds. That's the point that keeps being lost here. That's the point that keeps being lost. When you can actually name them, it's probably not the problem you think it is. That doesn't mean they weren't killed because of racism. Maybe they were. But you know what it does mean? It does mean it's not happening to such an extent that you can't name them. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. And do imagine what it would look like if every time this happened to a white guy or a Latino guy, or even, yes, it's happened to Asians. What about them? What if the news lost their shit every time it happened to somebody of a different color? Why is it always only black? Because that's the one that stirs our passions. That's the one that's been a problem in our country. It's a scar that just won't heal. Why not? Well, because they keep picking at the scab. They keep picking at that scab. It's such a racist country where where the major heroes for most little kids are sports stars who are black, for fuck's sake, or rap stars who are black, for fuck's sake. This isn't even going back to the time of like Jackie Robinson. We're talking about, oh my God, suddenly white people are liking a black man. No, like these are the heroes that they have growing up. It's so unfair. No, it's not. No, it's not. I just read Ice Cube tell people to not spend their money anymore. And this is what it really gets down to. Don't spend your money, guys. When all of this ends, don't spend your money, because if you do, then they're not going to be. Let me read that fucking tweet, because I asked him a question about it, and I'm genuinely sincere in my question. But this is what he said. Message to the protesters: if you go back to normal and start spending money, you will never get justice. They have no intention of treating us fair, never did. If you start spending money, the moment will pass like the wind, and the state will continue to abuse people daily. It is incredibly easy for a multimillionaire to tell people, don't spend your money. When you already own everything your heart could desire, it's very easy to tell other people, don't spend your money. But why? Why not spend your money? What are you going to do? Sit on it? Are you hurting the state by not spending your money? Or are you hurting those businesses that are around you? Are they the ones that are holding you down? Are they the ones holding you down, Ice Cube? Are they the reason you haven't had a platinum album? And how long has it been since you've had one? Does anybody even care? How long ago was it that you were triple X2? Mr. Cube? He's become militantly black in the last couple of days. It's actually been pretty funny to watch. But I sincerely asked him, why have you never moved? If it's so unfair here, why have you never moved somewhere else? And I offered the only things that I could think of that might be the reasons he didn't. One of them being he doesn't want to give up the fight for racial justice. Okay. All right. But at some point, I mean, aren't you part of the problem if you're one of those rich millionaires who's taking advantage of the poor black man? That's what you'll tell me about any black men who people can point to in history that were part of the problem. Oh, well, you know, they were just part of the problem. Black slave owners? Oh, man, I mean, come on. There were only like 3 of them, and they were still part of the problem. Well, you're part of the problem. You're a rich millionaire here in the U.S. What are you doing? I asked him if it was maybe family ties. He's rich enough to take his whole family wherever the fuck he wants to. Now, what I suspect is that it's the third answer. There's no place more fair. Certainly not where you can sing a song like Fuck the Police. Right, Ice Cube? Yeah, try that somewhere else. See how well it works out. America's not perfect. But, and you know, we still do have a ways to go. We'll never be perfect. But we're much better than we ever were. And the accusations of our sins, especially these days, are vastly overblown, largely by a bunch of dumbass honkies who won't shut the fuck up and just admit that they're sucking up to black people. I don't know right now if black people are buying this bullshit or not. We saw it with the Nancy Pelosi kneeling with the, what's it called? That Ghana scarf. I forget what it's called. Kanani or whatever. Anyway, a whole bunch of people went, oh, this is blatant pandering. It is. But what about that video from yesterday with the white actors and actresses who are standing up against racism? They're taking a stand. Did you guys see this shit? Did y'all watch that? Because we're going to try to see it. I apologize if it comes up all jittery because of my crappy internet connection, but I will do my best to show it to you, and we're going to go over that here in a minute. But when they see this, is this seen as pandering? Are you enjoying white people prostrating themselves for you? Are you enjoying this shit? Because it seems like condescension. It's embarrassing. And not as a white person, as an American, it's fucking embarrassing. Anyhow, I do have a couple of donations to get to here real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, if I got into the rant, it was going to be a minute. Nuclear Nigel, can we turn Chaz into glass? God, please let us turn it into glass. On another note, isn't there LARPing technically insurrection? Yes, their LARPing is insurrection by every definition of the word. They are claiming to have taken over part of the United States, and that once you enter their grounds, it's no longer the United States. So technically, Donald Trump could send the army in if he wanted to. James Colley, thank you. Asian that happened to, his name was what went wrong. Stop it. I removed my dating profile from OkCupid for their pandering. I've seen a whole lot of pandering, and it really is embarrassing. And okay, let's bring this one up so we can talk about it, because oh my. By the way, I saw you, Alex. I hope you're well, my friend. If you want to come hang out, let me know. I'll drop you a link. But This is I just to let you know, I'm going to stay. A lot of these shows, guys, it's they go wherever they happen to go. Today, it's going to start at least and stay as much focused as I can, because I'm over this shit. I really am. Ozzy Man Reviews probably has the best video I've seen on this by far. I have no idea who that is, but I will take your word for it. Now, this is a video that was shared out by Julianne Moore, famous white chick. Not that that's supposed to matter, I suppose, but I love these people falling all over themselves to prove how unracist they are. Evolved Potato, thank you. I think the old people at the retirement home hate when I take the knee. They all come hopping after me for their artificial ones. Oh. Well, don't steal old people's fake knees. That's if you learn nothing else from Ranting Monkey, that's what you should learn. Now, hang on. I don't remember if I clicked on share audio. I don't think I had. There we go. So let's see. How's the volume?
I take responsibility.
Okay, it sounds loud enough on my end. Let me know, guys. Is this okay? Was that loud enough to hear this? Ridiculous. I love how they did it all in black and white, too. We're going to be pointing out a couple of flaws with this thing as we go. Anybody hear that? Oh, my chat's not moving on this screen. Stop sharing for a second so I can see the other screen. And people are saying it's good. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Without Jack here, I have to rely on you guys for that. There we go. So here we are. Somebody said pretty loud, so we'll turn that down. Oh, wow. It's only at 4. So, All right, here we go. She takes responsibility, you guys.
I take responsibility.
Okay, let's back this up for a minute. You're giving a heartfelt, I take responsibility for racism. Could you overact it more? Overact it more. I want to let's see. Sorry, this is a Twitter video, so it may mess up if I keep jumping back and forth, but
I take responsibility.
Look how pensive he is. I take responsibility. Bitch.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility. Oh my God.
I take responsibility for every unchecked moment, for every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every not so funny joke.
Who is this guy? Does anybody know? Because of all the people in here, and I realize it's not entirely his fault, but he annoyed me more than anyone else. And I'll explain why in a little bit.
Every unfair stereotype.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
Wait, I'm sorry. Every unjust stereotype. You mean like black people are always getting beat up by the police, or is that an okay stereotype? Because it's not true. Yeah.
Every time I remained silent.
Every time I explained away police brutality.
What were you doing explaining away police brutality? Did you do it? I'm very curious because if you watch this, there's a couple of times where it becomes blatantly obvious that they're reading from a script, which of course they were, but I mean blatantly obvious.
Or turned a blind eye.
I love their pregnant pauses. These are all great actors who understand the importance of a pregnant pause.
I take responsibility. Black people are being slaughtered in the streets.
Black people are being slaughtered in the streets. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's a goddamn lie. It's a fucking lie. But remember, we're not allowed to talk about the reality of the situation because that doesn't help anybody right now. We can't talk about the fact that blacks and whites are being slaughtered, I'm using the air quotes, in the streets by cops, with it happening to white people on a much higher basis.
killed in their own homes. These are our brothers and sisters,
our friends, our family.
This is the one. Watch her eyes. Watch her eyes. Let's back that up. When Blondie pops up on the screen here, watch her eyes.
These are our brothers and sisters,
Our friends, our family. We are done watching them die. We are no longer bystanders. We will not be idle.
She's not looking at the camera at all. She's reading her script. And you see that coming up here in a few minutes.
Enough is enough.
I will no longer allow an unchecked moment.
You can see it from him
I
too.
will no longer allow racist, hurtful words, jokes, stereotypes, no matter how big or small.
Frank Hubbard, thank you. They're being slaughtered in the streets, just not by cops. Even then, they're not being slaughtered in the streets. They're being slaughtered at Planned Parenthood. Dragon Mage, thank you. What I find impressive are these people simultaneously sucking up to blacks and talking down to them. Again, it's very condescending, isn't it? We're going to get to what he just said in a minute, because he just was telling us he's not going to stand by for jokes.
To be uttered in my presence.
I will not turn a blind eye. Going for a jog should not be a death sentence. Sleeping in your own home should not be a death sentence.
Yes, what happened to Breonna Taylor is horrible, but that didn't happen to her because she was black. That happened because of the horrors of no-knock drug warrants. She's not the first person that's ever been killed because of one of those. And wrongfully killed because of one of those.
Playing video games with your nephew should not be a death sentence.
Shopping in a store should not be a death sentence. Business as usual should not be life-threatening. I stand against hate.
I stand against hate. What a dick.
I stand against hate.
Dick.
I stand against hate.
I
Dick.
stand against hate.
Dick.
I will stand against hate
Dick.
in love. I will make my presence known.
And killer cops must be prosecuted. They are murderers.
Time out. Not all times that a cop kills somebody is the cop a murderer. That is a point that gets lost in this. The number of times that there's justified police shooting. There's a lot of talk about, well, they just protect their own. And you know what? Sometimes that's true. And sometimes they're defending themselves. Believe it or not, sometimes criminals aim a gun at a cop. Sometimes they actually pull the trigger at the cop. Sometimes cops are killed in the line of duty. So let's stop pretending that everybody who's killed by a cop was a good person that didn't deserve it. I'm not happy any of them died, but they died because of their choices and the cop protecting his life or his partner's life or the public's life. Sometimes bad people get put down. Sometimes somebody is threatening public safety and the officer's safety. And you can say, well, killer cop, he killed somebody. He's a killer cop, ain't he? The ones who commit murder, absolutely. Chauvin, I haven't even learned his whole name, just his last name. That's how much I care about that fuck. I hope he ends up in prison for the rest of his life. If there's a death penalty down there, I hope he gets that, which I doubt murder 2 is even up for. But yeah, he should go to jail. But don't make it sound like all cops who've killed somebody were in the wrong. We give them that power for a reason.
We can turn the tide. It is time to take responsibility.
Responsibility. Do you love that? He put that little responsibility into his voice there. It's time to take responsibility.
Call out hate.
Call out hate, you guys.
Step up and take action.
Fuck you. Take action today at itakeresponsibility.org. You guys have heard me say this before, but you know what I take responsibility for? Shit I've done. That's what I take responsibility for. There's people like, no, somebody's got to stand up for the black people. They can't talk themselves. I was born white. I had nothing to do with what other white people do. Just, yeah. He's an actor and he's acting. Yeah. That's Jesse from, what's it called? Breaking Bad. And, oh boy, did he act that out good. I love that it's in black and white though. Is that not the most condescending part of that? Like, look, this is a very honky video. We need to make we got to put some black in here. Oh my God. It's so bad. So bad. I take responsibility. You know what? I have no problem believing that every one of the actors and actresses in that fucking video are absolutely fucking racist. They're taking responsibility for being racist. I believe them. They're all a bunch of racists. I'm not. I don't take responsibility for what racists do. I stand against stupid. I stand for the truth. And you know what? Sometimes I fuck up and get information wrong and have to correct myself because I stand against stupid and for the truth. I don't like to sound stupid, and I don't like to have facts that aren't right because it makes me look stupid, and I don't like to look stupid. I'm a pretty man. Police training needs to be standardized here in Canada. There are specialized police schools. You know, I saw this today again. There's been a lot of talk about that, you know, and here's the thing. The article I saw today was that police need more training in how to interact with people in violent situations. Specifically, they were talking about doing things like jujitsu, to have more holds that don't choke somebody but can still restrain them. It was restraint that they needed training on. Officer Chauvin would, I don't think that if he had gone to a class where they said, by the way, don't kneel on black people's necks for nearly 10 minutes, that would have stopped him from doing it. He was a bad cop. There are bad cops. And all the training in the world is not going to get you only good cops. Bad ones will still slip through. Just like bad people exist. You can do your best. And that's, I mean, have we failed at even trying? Maybe. But this notion that we just need better training. Does anybody think that this guy just thought, maybe it's okay to kneel on this guy's neck for 8.5 minutes? Let's just hold him down for 8.5 minutes by his neck with my knee. They didn't tell me not to in the academy. Lots of people have suggestions that may help. And I understand that. And maybe it will help with some police officers. Maybe it will help with some of the division that goes on in neighborhoods and stuff. And maybe it won't. Maybe it won't help at all. Because in a lot of these situations where I have seen the cops are wrong, I don't think for a moment that it was a lack of training. It's not like, oh, dude, you were supposed to have that on his shoulder rather than his neck. And he's like, shit. If only, man, I failed that class in the police academy. I kept putting it on the neck instead of the shoulder. He did it on purpose. It was done purposefully. He's a bad fucking cop. Yeah. But we need to, I think we're at a rare time where if we did actually get through to people about the realities of black and white, that we're not that different. We're really not. That maybe we could actually get to King's dream if we got away from the color of your skin. Unless you can actually show something that's the reason, which again, as far as I've heard so far, nothing in the Floyd case has shown that. There's some complaints from Chauvin's past where he got in trouble for language, but the reports didn't actually say what he said or didn't tell us what he said. Maybe he's just a bad cop. And maybe if it had been a white guy that day, it would have been a white man dead there, and none of us would have heard about it. Thank you, Old Grouchy Gamer. He's a bad human being first. Indeed. Absolutely. He's a shithead. I don't think that cop who killed the kid who was crawling towards him in that hotel room, and I'm sorry, I always forget that guy's name. When I hear it, I know it immediately. But I don't think that cop needed more training. I think it was a shitbag. I think he was somebody who should have never been in that position, and I'm not sure that any training in the world would have made that visible until he killed Daniel Shaver. Thank you. Until he killed Daniel. There's a lot of these times that this shit happens. And maybe, just maybe, we can finally get past that shit. I'm not joking when I say I think it's a beautiful thing to see white and black protesters down there burning shit together. I mean, it is a stark difference from what we've seen in the past, where it's generally one color in any of these protests, whether it's Antifa nonsense or whether it's Harlem being burned to the ground. It's pretty singularly colored. And now it's, I mean, black and white together burning shit down. We need to redirect their energies. We need to redirect their energies a little bit. Imagine what they could accomplish if instead of burning shit down, they were building shit up together. Just think about that and ask yourself, why in the world the media that is covering all this, that is telling us what a racist world this is ignoring that. Is ignoring the wonderful array of Americans that are coming together for this. And get rid of the violence part of it. Just go to the peaceful protest side of it. Look at the sea of color there. That should be celebrated. Like all of these people coming together going, what happened to him was wrong. This shows progress. This shows we're getting there. Nope. It's still the most racist place ever. Black people are practically slaves still. It annoys me. It annoys me in a way that I can't quite articulate, no matter how hard I try. Because we should be there. We should have been there a long time ago. And instead, our media, they keep doing it, man. They keep playing it up. And our politicians, they keep playing it up. Donald Trump came out yesterday and said that what happened to Floyd was a horrible thing and that this kind of stuff can't happen. But you also can't paint tens of millions of Americans as racist. You don't know them. And they're like, oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. You're just standing up for your white honkies again. Like, no, he's right. The stereotypes we just watched in that video, you can't stereotype people. Can't just stereotype white people as all racist. I mean, we do it now. It's legal. If you want to do it, you can, but if you're being honest, you can't. And yeah, Earl, thank you. There's no profit in peace. MSM and racial equality groups have to keep the narrative going and the tension high because that's how they get rich. There's plenty of profit in peace. There's just not profit in peace for the mainstream media and the racial equality groups. So I get what you're saying, but we got to be careful there. There's plenty of profit to be had in peace. We make money all the time here peacefully. It's just that those groups specifically, the news runs on strife. It really does. And it's just going to get worse and worse as our media becomes more and more polarized. Real quick, Engine Lover, thank you. They're not 100% wrong. Remember, it was as recent as the 1960s that my wife and myself could not have married due to interracial marriage laws. Corrections have been made. We have to wait for the inbred stragglers to die off. No, they are 100% wrong, and here's why. The changes that you talk about being able to marry your wife, 1960s. Do you know what year we're in? And I hate to pull a current year, but there's like 2 generations since then. You're never going to get rid of all racists. You're just not going to. We can do our damnedest, but you can't. Some people will just go to the easiest possible scapegoat, and race is a great one. I didn't get that job because the other guy was black. I didn't get, and thank you, Michigan, for keeping that up in like colleges. Yeah, affirmative action is wonderful, but it's an easy scapegoat to go to. You're never going to get rid of it all. But we've made strides to the point where what we see right now, these demonstrations are ridiculous. They're keeping us down. How? Well, they killed somebody in the street. Who? Was it you? Because I hear your voice loud and clear. How many did they kill? How many? And then they'll sit there and again, they'll be able to name them. Unless you have an extraordinary memory. Can you name everybody who died in 9/11 without looking it up? Bet you can't. When you're able to name all of the big stories, yeah, there haven't been that many. And the only reason that they're big stories is because it sells. It absolutely sells. Nothing has been in the news. This pushed coronavirus out of the headlines. The presidential election couldn't do that. We have a presidential election this year that could not knock coronavirus out of the headlines, but this story about Floyd did. You think that's a coincidence? It comes down to who's telling us our news these days. Who's lying to us now? And these are openly liberal jackasses who have a vested interest in seeing Donald Trump lose. If you don't believe me, go back to what Joy Behar said. What Joy Behar said after the Jussie Smollett thing, when Whoopi Goldberg asked, why do we always get this wrong? What was her answer? Because we just want to see Donald Trump out of office that bad. She's the most honest person on the face of the planet in that moment. It's not that they actually care about the news. They just want Trump gone. The economy wasn't working. Coronavirus wasn't knocking him out. What's a great way to go after Republicans, especially Donald Trump, who they've been painting as a racist since 2015? Oh, there's a dead black man. Jump on that. And especially in this case where you have this footage that's like, we're going to be able to show the world this. They're going to lose their shit. They'll be rioting in the street. I don't think it was set up. I need to be clear about that because there's people out there going, look, this was all a setup. Chauvin did this specifically to start a race war. No. These kind of things happen enough that all they had to do was find one. Just wait. A black man is killed by the police. What is it, like every day and a half, I think it is, on average? For whites, it's like every day almost. It's like 200 a year to 300 a year, basically. 200 blacks, 300 whites. So you don't have to wait that long for a moment to come up. And there's enough of them that they get wrong in those instances that you can go, get that one. And you make it a huge story. And again, with that video, it just made it so easy to do. Wasn't it written in the police report that they pulled him out of the car? Black Romeo, it's in the arrest report. Unfortunately, it seems like there was part of it missing, at least when I read it. I haven't gone back and seen if they've changed it at all. But they, in the arrest report for Chauvin, in the this is why we're arresting him, they actually say that they pulled him out of the car. Yeah, that Chauvin pulled him out of the car. Notice any reports of protests are diluted to demonstrations by the media, meaning they're tapering off. Corona's being pulled out of the flies. Bets on what will come after. Right now, Talik, they're pulling back. Okay, this is what I see happening politically. You have, this is dying off. There's not a lot left to it. And these things don't last very long. especially when you have a privileged population. And by that, I mean the United States. You check out the rioters, man. None of them are in rags. None of them are in rags. And sorry, the protesters. I'm using my air quotes. Protesters. None of them are in rags. Their shoes are all nice. Their hair's all done. None of them look scruffy unless it's intentional. They're not homeless people out there. They're very privileged people. They're going to go back to their lives feeling that they have accomplished something. And the media sees the writing on the wall on that. Donald Trump's speech yesterday was actually a very well done one. And he'll be able to pull that out every time they're like, he doesn't say bad stuff about the bad people. There's nothing left to it really, other than the last remnants of white people sucking up, hoping that black people go, oh, he was so brave in that little video where he told me he was responsible. I'm going to go watch his movie. That's all that's left, really. So they're trying to bring out COVID again. Right now, they're bringing back COVID because there's been a spike in cases. Dun, dun, dun. As people have been out protesting for 2 weeks with no masks in huge groups. And in one case, we know there was a protester there who had been told not to go out because he had COVID. They're going to bring that back. They're going to bring that back, and it shocked the market yesterday. The slight uptick in it was enough to shock the markets. Was it the NASDAQ lost 6%, I think it was? I could have my market wrong. I want to say it was a NASDAQ, but there was a 6%. Oh, my God. Just like at the beginning of this. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember the beginning of Corona when everybody started selling everything? And I told you guys that's a bad idea. That panic selling is a bad idea. That people are going to get very rich off of this because the smart people are not going to be selling. Instead, they're going to be looking for bargains. Y'all remember that? And just a couple of days ago, all of the losses had been regained. Yeah. They're going to try to scare the shit out of people with the COVID thing again because they saw that reaction from the market. And the market recovering scares the fuck out of them. Because if the market stays strong, rebuilding businesses isn't that big of a deal. It's going to be slow and it's going to hurt. But as long as you have the markets and you have the capital out there to reinvest, you'll be fine. If the market can fail, ooh, then they've got him. And they're actually playing a bad game here because, yeah, it's going to be Trump's fault. They're trying to tie it to when everything started reopening, which is fine, but you can't really tie it to that when the riots when the protests break out at the same time. Because you can't say, well, look, you reopened this stuff and everybody got sick. Like, yeah, but we reopened it with some rules and some safety measures, and you just told people to go burn the streets down. That's on you guys. That's on the left. They were the ones cheering this shit on. So that's where they seem to be headed politically. That's what they want to try to push, and as the downturn of the market is somehow Donald Trump's fault again. But the last time they tried that, it blew up in their face. Trump actually got higher ratings. Hey, Poppy, what you're actually going to have to wait for now because of the riots is to see if, with everything reopened and the riots dying down, if in about 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from the last time there's any big protest in a city, are the numbers still going up? And then you could say reopening was too quick. Dr. Fauci was, I didn't see him on TV. I just saw that there was an article about him where they said, coronavirus is still a big threat. Well, not according to the health people. The health departments across the country and the health, what would they call them? Health professionals, public health professionals or some shit like that. And if you actually read that thing, there's this thing came out. So public health officials say that you have to go out and protest because white supremacy is more dangerous than COVID. And if you read the footnotes, it says a couple of health professionals said this and a whole lot of activists. It's funny as shit. I'm paraphrasing. It actually says health officials and other, was it interested parties or something like that? Letting you know that it wasn't just health professionals who said this. There's only a handful of those morons who actually said that. But when you have any of them coming out, the news treated it like that's what health professionals were saying. So that was the story that went out there. And so you had a whole bunch of dummies going, fuck Corona. Grandma can die. I got to go stop white supremacy that doesn't really exist. Like, I don't like white supremacists either. I got, fuck, man. People used to get really mad at me back during the race realism days and the alt-right. Like, Monkey, why won't you talk about the alt-right? And my answer was because they're irrelevant. Oh, no, we're not. Like, yeah, where are you guys today? They're irrelevant. Giving them attention. I mean, if you wanted to talk to them, by all means do so. But I wasn't giving them any attention because fuck them racist shitheads. There's going to be people in the audience right now. Oh, I'm not racist. I'm alt-right. If you go back to the days of when Milo was pushing the alt-right thing, when it hadn't been defined, when Richard Spencer hadn't become the de facto king of the whites, yeah, you can say, okay, I was alt-right then, but that was when it was nebulous, and I stepped away when it became a racist thing, and I'll be like, all right, fair enough. If after Richard Spencer became their talking king and you were like, no, I was part of that, and you say, I wasn't racist then, yeah, you were. That's what they were. I don't know anybody who really likes racist. I can't think of anybody who's like, yeah, I love racism. It's great. Even racists try to pretend their shit isn't racist. So let's stop pretending that America's a racist country. Can we do that? Can we stop that? How about the reality of it? Yes, there's still some racism, and you're probably never going to get rid of it all. But we're pretty good. And when we find it, we do need to beat it down. Not with violence, but with words. Show what fucking morons they are. I'm better than blacks. I deserve my own country. Why? What'd you do to deserve your own country? Whites built this place. Ooh. You can say maybe that we designed a lot of it, but as for built, that was a communal effort, often by force, motherfucker. Stop it. But my ancestors, you're not your ancestors. If you're going to pull that my ancestors built this shit, then you need to be supporting reparations, motherfucker. Because you ain't have nothing to do with your ancestors. They didn't even know your dumbass was going to exist. At least they have the excuse of being born at the time they were. I may be a little bit angry today. Evolved Potato says, I'm pretty sure that was mostly the Chinamen. That was the railroads. White people have built buildings, and black people built a lot of the South. But then, I mean, once you have integration, you have, look at any building site today. It's not white. It's white and black. And again, Latino. I don't know if I've seen Asians out there building. They're pretty small guys. Joking, YouTube. I've gotten hit in my last 3 videos for hate speech. I don't know why. I get hit for hate speech all the time, you guys. And I can't figure out why, unless it's the way I speak about women. Because for the most part, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I don't know what they're hitting me for. That's why I asked them to please let me know. Give me the timestamp so I can see what it was I said at the time. I want to make a greatest hits video of what it was that YouTube thinks is hateful, and then put it against things that like Don Lemon says, and see if his videos are still monetized. Anyhow, it's because you're white and speaking. No, I get away with a lot of it. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know why. I need a little clarity from YouTube, and they don't seem to be forthcoming. So it's worth a shot. And hey guys, I'm willing to work inside your rules if you tell me what the fucking rules are. James Colley, thank you. I like racist until it came out Armstrong cheated. That's a racer, my friend. But thank you for the donation. Armstrong, he doped you guys. He had his ball cut off and then was it growth hormone, or did he actually use steroids? I can't remember. But they fought that forever. We're not cheating. And then it came out, yeah, we're cheating. Yeah. Chances are when you have somebody who comes out, if you're going to come out and break all the new or all the old records, you need to make sure you're keeping it within reason. You want to beat them by like 10 seconds, not like a day and a half. Because people are like, something's off. Top athletes using enhancing drugs say it ain't so. You know what? I'm kind of split on the drug thing in sports. If I had my way, there would be no drugs in sports because I want to see the best of human competition. And then have a separate drug league. So you have, okay, this is the best of the best. And this is what happens when you put horse tranquilizer in a man. And he weighs 500 pounds and still can run a 4-second 40. A 4.5 40. Drew, thank you. Buck fans here. Wanted to watch NFL, but pandering. I'm going to watch the NFL this year. I don't pay much attention to when they do the national anthem anyway. And I know there's people who are going to go, Monkey. I don't give a fuck. I don't. If they want to kneel. It doesn't affect the game. I won't. I'm not buying merchandise of anybody who's kneeling, but what else changes there? What does the game doesn't change at all? They're trying to do their best to keep their stuff going. I don't know if that motherfucker actually believes it or if the I do think it's funny though. I do have to say it is funny to watch these fucking multimillionaires, people who come into the league making millions of dollars if they're in the first round of the draft and be like, I am so oppressed. A black man cannot get ahead in this country. A black man just can't get ahead in this country. I'm going to go buy myself a Lamborghini and think about how bad I have it. Thank you, Frank Hubbard. I still doubt he did it. He passed every test multiple times. He was harassed into saying yes due to a jealous teammate. You know what? I got to be honest. I don't care about Lance Armstrong. I never did. I think the Tour de France is as gay as everything in France. And I don't mean the good kind of gay of two guys sucking each other off because they're into that thing. I mean the, oh my God, that's gay kind of gay. They're riding a bike through the mountains. Which, yeah, that's hard. It is. But you're riding a 10-speed through the mountains. Or in the, what are they? They have like 50-speed bikes. Stop it. Just put them on a BMX. Let's see what they do. Actually, I don't care about, I don't think bike riding is a sport. I mean, racing, I guess, is a sport. So it is in a way. But any race where you have to take the night off, where you get that's not a race. Stop it. Says a guy living in Michigan. What's wrong with Michigan? We got Detroit here. Represent. We got 8 Mile up in this bitch. How dare you, sir? I don't care about it anymore now that Colin got what he wanted, which is why I opposed the kneeling in the first place. Look, the thing, James, thank you. Damn, it was a joke. I got your joke. But we got on. Look, man, you changed the subject. You know how Monkey in the Morning works. I'm done with my opening rant. We're just going all over the damn place now. I do have something else to talk about, but we'll get to it when I run out of this shit. Mr. Vladmis, thank you so much. Heck yeah, we need to create a mutant league. You know what? If they did that, if they just came out and said, these are the drugged ones. That's this league over here. That is the XFL for Extreme Football League. You know what I mean? That's the extreme. You put the junkies in there and let them be high on whatever they want to be high on. They want to shoot PCP. How to use PCP? Smoke it, right? If they want to smoke PCP before the game, let them go out there and smoke PCP and run into each other at speeds man was never meant to achieve. And then over here, we can have the actual best of the best athletes, the guys who just want to prove they are better than that other man to man. No drugs, period. That's what I want. I want those two separate leagues so I can watch each depending on what I'm trying to watch. Do I want to watch somebody actually get decapitated on the field, or am I trying to watch competition? And that's how I think it should happen. I was loving the XFL. I've actually never seen the XFL. I've seen more of the Bikini Football League than I've seen of the XFL. And you might be thinking, yeah, of course you have, Monkey. No, I've seen very little of the Bikini Football League. I actually only went to watch it one time because I didn't know what their linebackers and their linemen or line women looked like. So I was like, I wondered. I went over there and I got distracted by the quarterback. I couldn't even tell you what the rest of the team looked like because she was smoking. XFL was amazing. That escalated quickly. Well, look, you're here on the Monkey in the Morning show. Where we go, nobody knows, not even me. But when it comes to the NFL, let's finish this thought before I move on. I don't like that. I don't even care about these people pretending that as multi-millionaires with a watch more expensive than my house are pretending that they live in some kind of horrific society that doesn't value them. What bothers me about the whole thing is that Colin Kaepernick is getting away with his bullshit. Because Colin Kaepernick doesn't give two fucks about Black Lives Matter. Never did. That was a contract negotiation. That was him sitting like a child because he didn't get his way. He got replaced as the starting quarterback, wanted let out of his contract so he become a free agent. The 49ers told him no. He started making his stink, and they're like, fuck it, dude. Yeah, go. And by then, reporters had already asked him why he was doing it, and had been counseled by the guy that were told, you need to take a knee because that's more respectful than sitting. What? What fucking moron said that? Oh, he's a veteran. Bullshit. That conversation never happened. You can see him talking. You can see the two of them sitting together. And like the next week, Colin was kneeling. Yeah, because they were talking about, dude, this is growing. People are starting to notice. You might want to come up with a plan for what you're going to say to the press. And then you see that first press conference when Colin explains it to him. He's like, yeah, Black lives are my cousin didn't get to Sega for Christmas, and that's because that honky Santa Claus kept it from him. It was just so bad and unplanned, and he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, but that's why he was doing it. Bullshit. It was a contract negotiation, and he's getting away with that shit, and that is annoying to me. James Colley, thank you. Make them universal leagues with the men and the women's. I don't want to see women get killed, dude. You can't put women out there with warriors, even the ones who aren't juicing. They'll get murdered. Drew, thank you. But they're poor 5 years average after retired. That's their fault, though. And the NFL has tried to address that. They've been dealing with that since I want to say it was the early 90s that this started becoming a thing. There was an HBO documentary, I think it was, where they followed this guy who used to be a millionaire in the NFL, and he was homeless now. And so the NFL, they actually have classes and stuff for the guys coming in the league, telling them about how to spend your money, how to invest your money, how to hang on to it so you don't end up broke after you were a multimillionaire for 10 years. And then you go out there and you can't even get a job at McDonald's because even they're like, I'm not hiring your worthless ass. You can't do anything right. Gamer Valine, thank you. Calm down, Wonder Bread. You don't even live in the hood. You're less gangsta than the nerds that covered Boys in the Hood with acoustic guitar. I don't know who you're speaking to there. Duck Dog, thank you. John bet $1 million Gates rebuilt Port Arthur, Texas, using black labor, paying premium rates, and threatened to shoot anybody that opposed him in 1900. See, yeah, I mean, this country was built by all colors. And Drew, thank you. Colin also went after Hillary in that speech. I remember watching that going, what in the fuck is he talking about? And you see over the weeks that he becomes more refined in his message and he finally gets it right. And that's when everybody's like, Colin is our hero. Yeah, you watch that first one, he sounded like a complete fucking retard. Because he didn't believe in it. He didn't believe in it. I don't know if he does now. Maybe he's been convinced. But originally, that had nothing to do with this. Not a fucking thing to do with it. He wanted to go play for another team where he could be the starter. He came out of college, had a wonderful start to his career. Gets them to the Super Bowl and loses. And just went downhill. He never actually recovered from that game. And it can be a hard thing for a quarterback. You're the head of the team. Instead of going, yeah, we got there, we got to get back. A lot of them get there, and they just if they collapse, it's the end. You don't see them have great years after that, or maybe one or two, but it'll take them a while to recover. And Colin wasn't recovering, and so they benched his ass, and he wanted out because he was still there. I want to say for 2 more years, and he wanted out that year. He wanted a free agency in his contract, so they gave it to him. Anyhow, I want to talk about this this picture I saw. This fucking picture. Where'd it go? This one right here. Doing my own. All right. Perception and reality. And perception, it shows a bunch of people up here on the screen from right to left. From far right to far left, with Biden in the center. Biden's the centrist. That's the perception. And far left, you have Bernie and Warren. In left, you have Obama. Center goes Hillary, Biden, and then Jeb Bush. Fucking Jeb Bush. Who even pays attention to Jeb Bush? Then right, you have McConnell. Far right, you have Trump. And, oh, God, what's his name? Bannon? Steve Bannon? I think. No. What's it? Oh, fuck. I can't remember that guy's name. Isn't it Steven something? Fuck. I can't remember. Then in the reality, you guys, it tilts it way up so that in reality, the only person on the left is Bernie Sanders. And he's center left, you guys. Everybody else is right. I'm like, that's fucking retarded. Stephen Miller. Thank you, Dangerous Spaces. Miller, that's his name. I knew it wasn't Bannon because Bannon has a very recognizable face. So does Miller here, but I always forget his last name. Anyway, this tweet, when I retweeted it to ask what the fuck, 115,000 likes. Now, it comes from some model. I forget her name, or she's a singer. Or I don't know who the fuck she is. And somebody goes, well, she always gets a lot of likes because she's pretty and people have seen her. If you see something stupid from somebody you like, call that out too. Don't accept stupid. And this is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. They have Elizabeth Warren right of center. Are you kidding me? Now, I believe this if you're a Marxist. If you're a full-on Stalinist, you might be going, or Maoist even, any of those offshoots of Marxism, you might be like, yeah, that's right. If you're even normal, you're going to look at that and go, whoever made this is fucking retarded and should probably be chaperoned at all times. Kingslayer, thank you. Apparently the USSR were centrist. Right? Right? Oh, God. If people think this is the reality, if people think that's the reality, we are in trouble, my friends. If they really, honest to God, believe that Bernie Sanders is just left of center, imagine what they think is just okay to be left. Bernie's a pretty hardcore commie. And before anybody does it, because lots of people get mad when I call him a commie, listen to me. He's a fucking commie. Look, at least in the breadlines, you get the bread. That sums up communism right there. At least in the breadlines, you get the bread. Don't worry about that. Instead of the knee on your neck, it's going to be a boot. But it's okay, man. You're going to go spend half your day standing in line for bread. You'll get some eventually. It'll probably be moldy. It's from 3 weeks ago. They killed the baker because he said something he shouldn't have, and they had to find somebody else to try to fill in. Bernie is just left of center. How scary is that? These fucking kids, man. This is what happens when they learn commie theory without learning commie reality. Because commie theory, I've said this before and people have gotten mad. Commie theory is good on paper. It really is. It's a utopia. But like most utopias, it doesn't work in real life. Communism doesn't take, socialism as well. They don't take humanity into account. if everybody acts their best, then this is what's going to happen. That's not how the real world works. That's why we that's why we use capitalism, because you know what? It doesn't always reward you for effort. It doesn't. But at least you can get rewarded for effort. And if the guy beside you isn't working as hard as you can get ahead. Not so much. These are the same people who like Fidel Castro. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Yeah.
Look, he taught him how to read. We won't talk about all the people he killed, but he taught him how to read. And I think that's a good thing.
Drew W., thank you so much. It's like how Nazis are right because of how left the communists were. The Nazis are still left of anything in the GOP today. The Nazi, there were a lot of people get mad. Socialists. It's in the fucking word, or it's in the title of Nazi. It's right there. It says the Z is socialist. Utopia is derived from the Greek word for no place. Even the name tells you that it can't ever exist. Thank you, Terry Diamandis. I didn't know that. But it's true. These things, you can make things sound beautiful on paper. You can make it sound great. But then in reality, what happens? The reason our poor in the U.S. are as well off as they are is because of how rich the U.S. is. And while we do have some socialistic systems, actually we have some communistic systems taking care of the people the way we do. And I don't have a problem with the safety net. But the only reason the safety net is able to let them live as well as they do is because of how rich everyone else is.
But Monkey, 1% has like 90% of the wealth.
Does that make you poor?
Well, no.
Well, then shut the fuck up.
But they're hoarding the money, Monkey. They won't give me any.
Oh, shut up. Go make your own.
But Monkey, we should all be rewarded for what they did.
I fucking love these people. They're so stupid. Anthony Vogel, thank you. It says, said it what I should have said a moment ago. Wealth is not a zero-sum game. No, it's not. And I've had that argument with people. How much money Bezos has, because he's the new enemy, you guys. Unless you work for Amazon, you have no reason to even care how much money Bezos has. Bob Potato, thank you. That tweet is a definition of accuse your enemy for that of which you're guilty. Because this in real reality is flipped. I'm so sorry. Trump is nowhere near far right. He was a Democrat. Retards made this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You see a lot of that. Donald Trump is not far right. There's by any stretch of the imagination. Any stretch. He's pretty leftist, actually. And it is amazing how many times he's actually given the left their way. But it's never enough because he's not Bernie. Now, I told you guys at the beginning of the election that the Democrats did not want Bernie Sanders. It's not that they don't want him because they don't agree with his ideals. It's that they think they will lose with somebody like Bernie. It's not about their political morality. It was about winning and losing. A socialist is not going to get elected in the United States across the country. It will be a bloodbath. That's why Biden is pushing away from. No, I'm not like that. No, we're just gonna fix Obamacare. We're just gonna fix Obamacare by making it so everybody can have it for free if they want it that way. But we're not gonna have free medicine. God, I miss the debates. I miss politics. I wish politics would come back. You need to stop talking about COVID and racism. Bring me my presidential election, God damn it. It's June. We should be knee deep in this shit. Drew W., thank you. I think it's based on how further the left want to go, but they don't include how much further the right could go. You know, Drew, I agree with you. I do. But did you notice what they didn't do on that? They didn't show us what far left is. They stopped at just right or just left of center, and then they didn't put anyone else there. Gamer Vleen, thank you. Tagged how I see you talking about Detroit. Is she going to make me talk about growing up in the hood? Is this white girl really questioning whether I got street cred or not? All right, honky. You do you. Yeah. I miss our politics, and that's what we should be in. We should be talking about what's coming up in this election. I think the Democrats are really happy not to be, because their candidate, Mr. Right of Center Biden from that thing, he's not a good candidate. He might have been, you know what? He would have been the good candidate 4 years ago. 4 years ago, coming off of being Obama's vice president immediately, he would have been a good nominee. Not that I think he's a good person or a good politician, or he just would have been politically a better choice. They went with Hillary because it was her turn. He stepped aside because he was told, look, we're going to support Hillary. I have a feeling that was a deal that was made way back in 2008, because Hillary Clinton didn't have to concede to Obama when she did. She could have tried to push a floor fight and all of that, push it through the superdelegates. The superdelegates had come out and said, no, we're going to support him. And I think just to smooth things over, the deal was made that, look, if I become president, we'll bring you in at state. And then after I'm out, I will support your run, because they figured Biden would be too old. Biden was still showing interest in politics, but then he drops out because his son had died. What a year prior? It made no sense for him to drop out when he did. It's not like he had to go raise his kids who were, like when his first wife died and his son was young, or his sons were young, and like, okay, that would make sense to drop out of politics for a while. When your grown son died a year before, it made no sense for you. Yeah, I need to just take some time off for family reasons. It made no sense, and it was a political thing. And now that it's his turn again, you're 4 years past when he had that credibility, when Obama could have went, this was my guy, run. And so he's a really horrible candidate. He's got nothing to show. He's not as left as the party is right now. He never has been. This is a guy who's running commercials right now here in Michigan. It's funny, talking about how Trump isn't going to help old people. And there's video of him on the House floor talking proudly about how he was cutting Medicare. Like, Joe. My favorite, they're going to call Trump a liar. And you know what? He's lied. Of course he has. He's a politician. But so has Biden, in some really ridiculously blatant ways. That video of him talking about his college years. Look, I went to college. I went on a full scholarship. And I went there and I finished at the top of my class. And I got 3 degrees. And turns out he went on a half scholarship, was a 6th from the bottom of his class, and got 1 degree. They found this was back in the 90s, early 90s. I think that was the run. And they asked him about it, and it was a lapse in memory. He forgot he didn't have 3 degrees. He's a fucking liar. Oh man, a politician telling lies, saying so. I know, Anthony. It's almost like the world is flipped upside down. It's almost like left is right and right is left. I just wish they would have, on that little graph we looked at a moment ago, shown me who is left, who is far left. Show me who's far left, guys. I need to see what you think. If you think Bernie is only slightly to the left of center, what in God's name do you consider far left? What would that be, guys? Anybody, give me a guess of somebody alive today that would be far left by the American left standard. By somebody who would think that Biden, or that would think Biden is far right and that Bernie is just barely left. I saw the graph is saying there is no far left. Maybe. But if there is no far left, then by default, Bernie does become far left. If he's as far left as there is, then that is the far left. Literally no one. Chomsky, fair enough. AOC, I think by their standard, AOC's a Bernie hoe. So Anthony says Mao's dead. Durkin, I don't know. Omar, again, Omar's a Bernie hoe. These guys are all, they all just fall right under him. So yeah, I don't think that would make that far left, wouldn't it? That would make him far left. In which case, I guess Biden, I wonder politically, I'd have to look. I wonder if Biden and Trump are actually very far apart at all on the political spectrum. If you look at what they've actually done and said, that kind of thing. Because Trump is not far right. He cut taxes. He wants to build a border wall. But I mean, again, you can go back to Obama and see, yeah, Obama was talking about same stuff. Got to shore up that border, right? So you can't claim that as far right. They do, but you can't really do it sanely. You can't do it honestly. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just be honest? If our news media came out there and was just honest. They lie so much. I saw Oliver Darcy was upset because the right wing keeps painting the Antifa zone in Seattle as a place with guys with guns and it's a thuggery going on there. Well, there is. We know there is. And the mayor says there's nothing to support that. The mayor of Seattle is a dim-witted twit. She is a vapid cunt. That's going to give me some hate speech right there. Well, honestly is subjective. Honestly can be subjective. Honest is not. You can be honest. In even some of these stories where we've seen about them taking Donald Trump out of context. There was a story we read last night on Lords of the Night where the title of it annoyed the shit out of me. It was something about, I forget what the wording was, but it was about what Trump said yesterday. And the wording to me just came off as more of the press trying to put it like Donald Trump said there were great people, or there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville, which is true. He did say that, but that's not all he said. And that's the narrative that came out, is that's all he said. The title, I feel, should have represented the fact that Donald Trump had said, we need to stop this from happening. This can't happen to people. It's not right. And instead it focused on Donald Trump saying there's millions of people that you can't judge. But even, at least in that article, they did quote him. They gave the full quote. So I didn't like the headline, and we all know most people only read the headline. The news knows most people only read the headline. That's why they put the most salacious shit in there. While technically the headline true enough, at least they had the truth in the article. So many times we see it where they don't even put the actual quote in the article. They'll say, Donald Trump said that he was the chosen one. And then in the article, it just says, Donald Trump said, I guess I'm the chosen one. Leave everything else out that was said. The part about him saying, every president before me hasn't done this, I guess I'm the chosen one. They just go, I'm the chosen one. Because they're liars. You can be honest. If you're going to talk about what the president said, tell us what the president said. Don't cherry pick one little line of what he said. Give us the whole quote. Okay, how about that council president from Minneapolis? Oh, the one that wants to get rid of the police because it only works for some people. Instead of making it work for everybody, like, no, we got to get rid of all of it. She was talking to Allison Camerata, and Allison said, now, if I'm home alone at 2:00 in the morning and I hear somebody breaking in, who do I call? And she goes, I hear this from a lot of my friends and from me too. And it comes from a place of privilege. You have to understand that For black people, the police never come at 2:00 in the morning. Now, I'm exaggerating what she said and how she speaks, but that's what she said. And so in her world, what you do is you get rid of the police because it's only working for white people. Instead of making it work for all people, you get rid of it because it's only working for some. Like, So you put everybody at risk. That makes sense. That makes a fuckload of sense. Dumpstertron, thank you. Trump is economically independent. Biden and the entire Democratic Party is owned by the money changers. You know, I think one of the biggest things that pissed off a lot of politicians on both sides about Trump is that he wasn't beholden to a party. Donald Trump didn't need their money to run for president. Fuck, most of his advertising came from the news media not being able to shut the fuck up about him. When you run and the party has your balls because they have the purse strings, it's very much like a marriage. She controls the money and your balls. Which one do you want? And nobody was controlling his balls because he had his own money. He's like, fuck all y'all. I'll do it myself if I have to. And he wasn't beholden to anyone. And I think that's what scares politicians about him. It's not even his stances and stuff or his twittering. It's that, oh my God, the parties might not matter. The parties might not matter. The parties shouldn't matter. Look, guys, we as a whole, we tend to look at this and like, okay, only a Republican or a Democrat can win. Even up there in Vermont where Bernie, I'm an independent, you guys. No, you're not. You're a fucking Democrat who lost a Democratic primary, so you ran as an independent and have just been doing it since. You're still a fucking Democrat. You caucus with the Democrats. You vote with the Democrats. Stop saying you're an independent, you shitbag liar. Our country tends to vote Democrat or Republican. And we've got this view, and I'm using we generally because I do not believe in this, but we've got this view that if you vote third party, what you're going to do is you're going to cost your guy the election. So like, and it does happen, but I'll explain what I mean. And stay with me. Go back to 1992. George H.W. Bush is running against Bill Clinton. Nobody thinks Bill Clinton has a chance. At the beginning, Bill Clinton had no chance. If you go back there and watch television shows from that time, you'll hear people make jokes about how the Democrats will never be in power again. And then here comes Bill Clinton. And everybody's like, oh, God, this rube. But then came Ross Perot, third party. What did he make his? The American Party? Was that what he eventually called it? I don't remember. But Perot jumps in, and suddenly Bill Clinton has a chance because Perot is stealing votes from Bush because the Republicans have not been fiscally conservative like they should be. Perot is preaching that, and Billy starts siphoning off some of that rhetoric. If in 92, instead of going, we have to vote for Bush, it's the only way we can win. If all of those people had voted for Perot, Perot would have won. Just like if nobody would have voted for Perot, Bush probably would have won. The idea that you're costing the Democrat or you're costing the Republican in the election, well, you're also costing the third party the election. Nobody ever seems to think of it that way. And it would really be great to do that. I don't think we necessarily need the amount of parties they have like in the UK, where they've got like 60 different fucking parties and they all have to come together to decide how they're going to vote. But it would be nice if we had more than just Democrat and Republican, because they're a bunch of shitbags. They're all a bunch of shitbags. I think they believe what they say when they go out on the campaign trail, at least to a point. But when they get in office, it's about staying in office. It's not about doing the right thing. Are there some, maybe Rand Paul is somebody who actually lives out his morality? Maybe even Bernie, maybe. But for the most part, these guys are fucking assholes who just want to get reelected. This is my new career. And so they sell out time and time again. It's not especially for the Republican side. Oh my God, it's not even compromise. I'm fine with compromise. Compromise. But compromise is not bending over and going, yeah, don't even lube it up. Just stick it right in. That's not compromise. That's getting fucked in the ass. It's getting dry fucked in the ass. And they do it constantly because they're afraid the press is going to come out and talk about what a racist they are, or how much they hate old people, or how they want to see babies starving in the street. Because that's our press, you guys. Fuck. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. That's all right. Things will get better, I'm sure. Does that mean Monica would have blown either Ross or George? I don't think so. Monica, she didn't just suck the dick because it was the president's dick. I mean, Bill Clinton, he's not a pretty man, but he's not an ugly man either. I mean, he is now. Good God, that nose just keeps growing. Did you guys know your nose and your ears are the only parts of your face that like keep actually growing outwards? So my old man always had big ears. But yeah, his bulbous nose just keeps growing. It's kind of disgusting. But at the time, I mean, he was a decent enough looking man. He was a head of the country. At that time, what, Bush was in his late 60s. And Perot, oh my God. My favorite thing about Perot was actually a Saturday Night Live skit where Dana Carvey was writing, who was it? Was it Chris Farley? He pays him to get to be able to write him in a restaurant. Just that still makes me laugh. Let's be honest, the Dems just kill babies in the womb. Oh, yeah. See, I think we should be able to be honest about abortion, too. You know why they say fetus? Nobody said fetus before abortion. Nobody. Fetus became the thing so you don't say we're killing babies. We're vacuuming out babies. It's a fetus. It's just a clump of cells, monkey. Come on. When you find out your friend's pregnant, she's happy about it, you never go, congratulations, you have a clump of cells. What are you going to name the clump of cells? Stop it. Just be honest. Why can't we be honest about it? Yeah. I think honesty is a better way to go. I don't like euphemisms. I don't like bullshit. Saying fetus is just their way to avoid the ugly truth. It's their way to sell it. It's their advertising campaign. Again, if you say we're going to kill babies, nobody's going to be on board. Nobody's going to be like, yeah, kill them babies. You're not going to see a congressman up there going, I just want to sit here and talk to you guys today about women's right to choose. A woman should have the right to kill her baby. I mean, in her womb. I'm sorry. I need to correct that. Yeah. Oops. You don't want to have that slip up on your record. She should be able to kill her baby. Can we refer to Antifa members as clumps of cells? Man, Antifa. Do you remember when they were just a joke? It wasn't that long ago. I mean, Antifas existed in Europe for a while, and they have real Antifa. What our Antifa wishes they were. And they are still mostly a joke, but they're growing up a little bit. Safe, legal, and rare, my ass. You know, Anthony, the safe, legal, and rare thing. Bill Clinton came out. He was the one who actually popularized this because at the time, nobody had a problem saying, you're pro-abortion. He came out, no, God, I can't do my bill anymore. I'm not pro-abortion. Damn it, I can't do it. I'm pro-choice. And everybody, yes, that makes a lot more sense because saying you're pro-abortion makes it sound like you're fine with vacuuming out babies. And you have a lot of people, I wouldn't do it myself, but I think it's okay for other people. Well, why wouldn't you do it? What's with your morality that you wouldn't do it, but it's okay for others? Now, and that's not a bad position to have. I'm not going to butt fuck a dude, but I'm okay with other dudes doing it as long as they're consenting adults. So it's okay to have that stance, but what is it about it that makes it where you wouldn't? And if your answer is, well, it's killing my child, well, then that opens up a can of worms. Thank you, Chicago Mike. My favorite part of Ross Perot was James Stockdale. Who am I? Why am I here? I thought Stockdale actually did a lot better in that debate than most people did. Granted, this is 1988. So I was 13, but I never really saw the problem with what Stockdale did wrong in that debate. I thought he was being funny there, and everybody else apparently saw him being senile. But again, I was 13, so I probably missed that. Antifa started in Germany. Makes sense. Womb equals the sound an elephant makes when it backs up to a cave and farts. You know, James, you're probably right about that, but I'm not sure. But being for choice cuts both ways, being for and also being against abortion. Yeah, we haven't done the abortion debate in a while. That debate is one that comes up on this show from time to time. I used to be somebody, I didn't talk about it publicly. I would tell you I was anti-abortion and be like, I'm not going to discuss it though. Because every time I discussed it, it always ended up with being with some woman that I was friends with. Like, well, what do you think about it? I'm not discussing it. No, please, what do you think? I want to hear. Like, all right, I think it's killing your baby. I think the time for birth control was before you got pregnant. And I think once you did that, then you have a responsibility to the child you created. And then every fucking time I had an abortion. And that changes what? You think that's going to, because we're friends, that's going to change my opinion of abortion? Because you had one, because you made that mistake? And yeah, mistake. I said it.
But Monkey, birth control fails.
Then stop fucking. How about that? Birth control don't fail as often as you motherfuckers like to pretend it does. Because every time some kid gets pregnant, they're like,
Oh yeah, the condom broke.
I actually had a friend of mine do that. They told me that their daughter got pregnant. Their daughter was 15 at the time. She goes, they used protection. It just didn't work. I'm like, You know, we told my parents we used protection. It was a fucking lie. She's like, oh, I didn't think of that. You didn't think of that? You didn't think that it's far more likely that they fucked without a condom than the fact that the condom broke? Yeah. Again, if condoms broke as often as people say they did, they'd be pulled off the market. You ever seen what you can do to a condom? How big you can blow it up or put your whole fucking fist in there and it won't break? Yeah. No, your dick is just that big. Fuck. I know someone who had one, messed her up. I know somebody who really, really loves kids and would really, really like to have kids and can't because she had an abortion when she was young. Ain't that a bitch? Trying to put Planned Parenthood out of business? Yes, abortion is a business to them. It absolutely is a business. Of course it's a business. They make money off of it. Planned Parenthood, they don't do that shit for free. Somebody's got to pay the bill for that vacuum. Do you know how much hangers cost? What the fuck you doing with those condoms? Yeah, look, I've had a condom break on me before. And you know what I did? I stopped and put on a new one. Because she insisted we use condoms. And, but when I did get a girl pregnant, Lady Monkey, we didn't use a fucking condom. Fuck no. Hell, you can fit a condom over your head, though why you would do that is beyond me. Yeah, Mike. There are grades of condoms too. Some are better than the others. But okay. Any gentleman in the chat, have you ever had a condom break on you? And if you did, give me a 1 if you felt it break and a 2 if you didn't. Pincalo, thank you so much for the banana peel. Well played, sir. Well played indeed. You can feel when the condom breaks. It makes a pop. And yeah, it's like, oh, shit. I do not believe, and I'm saying this, I do not believe that 99% of the people who said they got pregnant while using some form of birth control actually were using that birth control. I was on the pill. Did you miss some? Well, yeah, but I was still on the pill. The pill is very specific. You have to take it at the same time every fucking day. They have other ones that they've been trying that are less specific, but for the most part, you're supposed to take it at the same time of day to regulate the hormones that keep you from getting pregnant. And if you fuck it up, you can get pregnant. You can have a little retard, baby, but yeah, it seems most of it broke before, not during. You felt that thing pop, didn't you? Never had a condom break. Expo Hotep, I think I had air in the end of mine. I didn't squeeze the tip that time, and that'll do it. all it takes is that little air pocket to hit the wrong slide in. Yes, I was using it as a giant water balloon. Jack, my friend, good morning.
Good morning.
What you doing up at this hour?
I have no idea.
I'm glad you are, sir. I've missed you.
I missed you too.
Actually, to be honest, this is one of the times I'm glad you weren't here at the beginning of the show.
Uh-oh.
No, not like that. Occasionally I have a rant, and it's one that I need to get off my chest.
Yeah.
And I actually considered waiting till I was done with that before I sent you the link. But then I thought, fuck it, he's sleeping anyway. He won't even see the link.
You weren't wrong.
And it's not that I don't want you here, because I love having you here, but sometimes I just got to get that shit out. And I had one of those nights tonight, Jack, because I was reading the fucking the Twitter, and oh god, just so much stupid. But I have a donation over here, guys. This is a good time to remind you we are brought to you by you. Hit that like button, hit the share button, and throw money at my friend Jack. Thank you, James Colley, who says the most honest fucking lie: the condom broke. LOL. Also, yes, felt it break, and fuck no, I didn't stop. Jack, we're talking about condoms.
Oh,
and abortion. Actually, you ever have a condom break?
Oh yeah.
Did you feel it?
Nope.
See, I felt mine. I've only had one break one time, and I felt it break. There was a pop, and I feel like you need to stop banging so loose of women.
It wouldn't have. It's one of those things that you're in the middle of it, so even if you did notice it, you're kind of in a rhythm.
Yeah, but you can get back in that rhythm. Look, when it happened to me, I was 16, so my dick was always hard. I could get that. Like, shit. Don't worry, it'll be right back. If it had died or anything. But I just stopped, put a new one on, right back into it. I just think most people who end up pregnant with their, I was using birth control, are full of shit. Anyhow,
it's more of laziness, I think.
Look, I understand being in the moment. Being in the moment, you don't have one, so you like, all right, we're not gonna. Well, okay, just pull out. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and that rarely works out well. It's just poor decision making during. You're not thinking with your brain; you're thinking downstairs.
And we're actually designed that way.
Yeah, I mean that's just part of genetics. So people make dumb decisions during sex.
Our brain needs blood, and our body has a limited supply. And our penis, to get hard, takes blood. And it lowers our decision making. It makes us do stupid things. Like you're thinking with your dick. You kind of really are. That doesn't mean you have no brain control, but things that when you're, soft would make you go, I'm not doing that. When your dick's hard, you're like, yeah, let's try that. We are designed for our sexual urge to take over. Oh no, 16-gallon shot vac, $154. Cost of an abortion, $500 to $1,000. Vax paid for with the first abortion, all profit after that. You don't know they're not using a Dyson. Those things are expensive.
Yeah, well, you don't buy the rainbow vac for that. And thank you, Terry Diamandis. Money for a lighter in case you own any racist Magic cards. Oh, thankfully, I don't play Magic.
There's racist Magic cards now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was on Kotaku. They had a list of newly banned cards. There's like 10 of them.
Of course. I want to show this because speaking of newly banned and all that, they're trying to get Paw Patrol taken off the air, guys, because it shows Chase in a positive light. Well, somebody's came up with a way to avoid that, Jack.
Oh, no.
Carl. I laughed so hard when I saw this shit.
That's awesome.
I could see this happening.
Yeah, I could too.
Carl the commie dog. I like the Che Guevara.
Yeah. He's just here to redistribute the wealth.
Paw Patrol, we have somebody making money. Get here quick. No, that wasn't a joke. Who was it that asked that? John Miller. No, it wasn't a joke. They want all police taken off the air. And I read an article last night. They know that's not possible, Jack, so they have a different theory.
Oh God.
Instead of taking all the cops off the air, you have to show them how they really are. So I'm guessing in their worldview, like every episode of Law and Order, the first half hour is just cops beating black people. And then the last half hour is just some black guy getting railroaded through the system.
No, what they're going to do is the ones that can't be taken down, or they just won't, they'll insist on having a trigger warning at the beginning. One of those, like, not just viewer discretion, but like, we understand the cops are racist pigs and this may portray them in a positive light. Be warned.
Well, did you see what HBO actually said about Gone with the Wind? They're not getting rid of Gone with the Wind forever. They took it down right now because it's insensitive at the moment. And they apologize because they didn't have a disclaimer on the beginning. And when it comes back, it's going to have a long disclaimer at the beginning, possibly even a video recording of somebody talking about how don't believe that the racist things in this are okay. Like, you guys, Frank, thank you. What about Family Matters? No, because remember, black cop showing out for the white cop. That's a line from a song. If you guys don't know it, your life makes me sad.
Well,
that's from Fuck the Police.
Some of those will probably edit out scenes too out of classic movies, and we'll never get the originals back. They'll just edit out some of the more offensive lines or redub them, and the originals will be gone forever down the memory hole. Just like Song of the South, you might be able to find it occasionally, but it'll never be an official original high def copy. It'll always be some bootleg.
Yeah. We were asked, and I'm sorry, I forgot who asked, why are SJWs like they are? It's because they're children.
Yeah.
They're giant children, and fantasy is better than reality. Just how it is. Excuse me. They edit out scenes of Friends for Netflix and reruns.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell, Isabel, if they did that, because if you watch the DVDs of Friends, you actually get longer episodes. And there's several where you catch mistakes, and then you go back, and if you watch what aired on TV, you see that what you're watching is something that was edited out. Because there's one scene where Chandler is really sad, so the girls are like consoling him, and he's eating ice cream because he broke up with someone. I think that was with Kathy. And in the parts where that actually aired, he's holding an ice cream bucket that looks like an ice cream bucket, like a little 1 pint thing or something like that.
Yeah.
In the ones that got edited out, the little thing he's holding instead is just this little green and white carton. So I watched it so much on the DVDs. Anytime I watch it somewhere else, I'm like, they cut something right there. I can't say they did it for TV or not. It's just that it's not what was on the DVDs. Yes, I've watched that much Friends on the DVDs, and I'm okay with it. Pincalo, thank you. Like the original theatrical Star Wars release.
Yeah, that's
what
the special editions.
Oh, those fucking things.
Yeah. You never see the originals anymore. It's just the special editions.
They did release them on Blu-ray. I have them. It was a set that came with both.
Oh wow!
You can still buy it online right now. I think it's like $500 last time I looked. Maybe $200, something like that.
Yeah, I'll need a lot more Streamlabs donations before I can afford that.
No, the selling point for me, because I already own all of them, but the selling point was that they had the originals, and I still have the originals on VHS. A really nice set that I got there, but otherwise you can't find them. And so when I saw that, I'm like, oh fuck yeah!
Wow. Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato, for the donation. It got this from selling stuff to Planned Parenthood. Stopped by a maternity ward for some fresh ones. They pay a lot.
Damn.
That's wow. And thank you, James Colley. Why not keep cops the same? They have rappers on TV who don't use the N-word. How is this any different? It's not about the actual issue of portraying police in a positive light. It's about tearing down the system, I think.
There was we were talking, was it last night, about how they want to tear down the systems, defund the police. And one of the plans to defund the police, Jack, is to get rid of the police and rebuild the police department.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, that's still having the police.
Yeah, well, you noticed how fast this autonomous zone bullshit ended up with the police force.
Yeah, because
and a border wall.
It's amazing how that worked out, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I don't know, this is very frustrating because the whole goal is really to just create a control mechanism where the cops do what they want. It's not actually about the police. They're using it as an excuse to change policing into something more like nagging managers.
Real quick, Gamer Valine, thank you. I'm not sure if Dyson makes a wet dry vac. Also, everyone should know about the copper IUD, good for 10 years. And I was sold when they said it kills sperm by making a hostile environment. We all know I love some hostility. The vagina is already a hostile environment for sperm. So that's like putting a warlord in your vagina.
Yeah. Oh.
Your vagina is Somalia, and that's the warlord.
Vaginas are like the Congo.
Yes, exactly.
We're just going to change the name of IUD from IUD to Boko Haram.
No, I remember Lady Monkey when she was in college. There was a medical course she took where they went over, reproduction in detail. Not what you get in high school, guys. Much more detail. She goes, "It's amazing sperm ever gets through." I'm like, yeah, it's a dangerous place in there. I got the good sperm.
Just one more war that men have to fight that women don't.
And we win.
Sometimes.
We take over the village, and then sometimes they go get another man to take it back. Women's are hostile. I blame rap music.
Thank you, Terry Diamandis. I hope you will dispose of any racist Faulty Tower DVDs you own too. No, that's a classic show, and they should be fucking with it. And the fact they're removing an episode is fucking disgusting. That actually really pissed me off when I saw that.
What was it? I'm sorry.
Faulty Towers, the TV show with John Cleese.
Yeah,
they're taking an episode called "The Germans" out because he makes fun of Germans and does like the Hitler salute and dances around mocking them.
Yeah, I've seen the clips and stuff from that. I've never watched the show, but I know what you're talking about just from the way you described it. They're taking that down?
Oh, they're removing it from this future release that's coming up, the golden
stupid
box set. Well, that's the problem with digital technology is it makes it easier to do an effective book burning. You're not just destroying the idea, you're destroying the art. And that's dangerous. That is incredibly dangerous.
Jack, we watched earlier the video from all the little white stars taking responsibility for.
Oh, God.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's fucking dumb. Oh, hey, has-beens. What are you up to? Oh, virtue signaling. Cool.
Yeah, that little pussy who played Jesse on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
He annoyed the shit out of me, but there's another guy that comes after him that they all tried to look so deep, Jack.
Oh, they're super serial, man.
It was such bad acting. I hope they're not using that for their auditions. Thank you, Terry Diamandis. To be fair, the reason it's being removed is because Major says the N-word for a few times. So this is what I was actually getting to. And thank you for the donation. I'm not blaming you there, Terry. I understand that you're just making sure we understand. I get it. I do. But one of the guys in there, I think it's the little nerdy guy. Who the fuck is he? He always plays an asshole on TV, but he says he's no longer going to laugh at racist jokes. I'm like, stop.
So he was laughing at them before?
Well, they're taking responsibility, Jack.
Mm-hmm. Right. These are Hollywood people. They don't take responsibility for fucking anything they do.
They're not going to accept stereotypes anymore. I'm like, I hate to be this guy, but there's some funny stuff done about white people that is absolutely stereotypical and absolutely racist. I was just watching Dave Chappelle before this show. Dave Chappelle has Netflix released a almost 30-minute set that he did where he talks about George. It's not funny at all. I'm not going to lie to you. It's him, and he just gets out there and he gives his opinion of what happened with George Floyd. And I have a few problems with what he said in there, but not much. It was a good take from somebody who's just speaking from the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen Dave Chappelle make fun of white people in stereotypical ways, and you know what? I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but that's not the stuff they're going to remove. It's okay to make fun of whitey. That's also part of the problem I have with this. It's the massive hypocrisy of it all. And I'm just so angry about the whole thing because it would be one thing if they would just put a warning thing at the beginning of the show, but they can't stop there. They got to destroy anything that they find offensive toward black people or anything else. If it's of the moment rage, they're going to destroy it. It is like toddlers having a tantrum.
Fuck your outrage, people. I don't care. I saw something yesterday on, I think it was a Twitter post that said, people who say that there's too much outrage just want to tell vile jokes about black people and women and other oppressed peoples. I'm like, no, you guys get your panties in a wad way too easy over nothing.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Time and time and time and time again.
And people keep giving in. Why don't you just say, no, we're not going to do that. We'll put a dumb little warning at the time saying this is a product of its time at the very beginning and maybe one at the end if you really want one. But that's it. We're not changing anything else. This is art. You don't have to like it. Sometimes art is offensive.
I get what you're saying. And I that would be a compromise, I guess. But for me, I'm like, no, fuck it. Just show it.
I know. But, I mean, people need to learn to suck it up.
Yes.
Stop being such fucking babies.
You should be, if you're watching something like Gone with the Wind, that's not a kid's movie. And if you're watching it, you should be able to apply your sensibilities to it.
Apparently, at some point, we stopped having adults.
We did. That's what I said. They're children. They're fucking children.
They really are. It's disgusting. This kind of destruction, you can't take it back. We've already lost a lot of classic movies. We've lost classic Lon Chaney movies like London After Midnight, and the Golem is largely gone. There's a lot of things that we've lost that were historical movies. For a long time, Metropolis was thought to be destroyed, and parts of it were just not that long ago recently found. But once it's gone, and you can't get it back. And if they censor enough stuff, eventually we lose the physical medium, and that's it.
Richo says, USA, we are warriors, yet you all hide when shit goes down, and you all have access to guns. Monkey, stop pretending. You lost a war to an emu. Shut the fuck up. He's not wrong, though, Jack. You have a lot of people who talk a good talk, but they're not actually willing to throw down. And you know why they're not? They don't have to be. Like the stuff we're seeing right now, the people in Seattle, they don't have to fight for that block because the mayor was like, fuck it, take it.
Yeah, well, they're not going to fight either. There's a bunch of fucking soft pussies.
Yeah, if we actually push through, they're like, get the fuck out, go home, they would do it because they're pussies.
Yeah.
But so is the mayor of Seattle.
Yeah. Well, like I said previously about this, the longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be to put a stop to it. It's going to end in violence because these people are fucking idiots. And eventually, anarchists and people that actually want to fight are going to come out there.
Ha ha ha, I upset the Michigan. The Michigan? I live here. I'm from California. If you want to be clear on that. You didn't upset me. I just think it's funny somebody whose country literally lost a war to emus is talking shit. That's funny to me. And didn't they all have to give up their guns too, except for their long rifles?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know there's still some guns out by the Outback because they got to fight off like the Yowie invasions.
Yeah. Hey, look, we've all become pacified compared to what we used to be.
Yeah, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah. You imagine this shit happening in the Old West? The sheriff would have come in and just killed them all.
Yeah, you get
Burn
shot.
that town down.
Yeah, and nobody'd blink. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's over finally."
Yep. They'd be like, "Oh, that's what they get."
Oh, thank you, Pincalo. Which will be up next on the cancel block? Glory or Roots? Will they cancel Denzel or Lamar? I would say probably Roots because it depicts slavery.
Blind Press, thank you. Back when growing up was actually a thing. I know, right? I think of the two, I think Roots would be the one that lasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mark my words. They will say Glory is a white savior story.
Oh, but the one guy's whipping a black man.
Didn't want to, though. And then when he finds out what happened, he takes action. By the way, if you guys have not seen Glory, excellent fucking movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I don't even like Denzel Washington, but that was a great movie.
That scene where they're all sitting around telling their stories and then Denzel tells his, oh my God. And Denzel getting whipped. Holy shit. You know how you can tell a good actor? When they can cry on their own. And that motherfucker made a tear pop out and just stood. Oh, man, that was great scene. Michael says, Michael, I'm not saying that out loud for people who haven't seen it. The Kuta Kente bit is still funny. One of the reasons I love the Poisoning the Well guys is their take on that. Did you ever see that, Jack?
No.
Oh my God. They wonder at the beginning of the show if it would be okay to replace black characters with white characters. And then it goes off to a dream sequence. And it's that scene with Pat he's the one being whipped, and Sofane, I forget what he said. Like, your name is Steve. And he goes, my name's Greg. And he whips him once. He goes, all right, man. All right. I'm Steve. It's a great fucking scene. If you guys have never seen The Poisoning the Well, that scene, go watch him. Dude, why do you like Fane? Because he's funny. When he's talking politics, me and him disagree completely. But when it comes to humor, those guys are still funny as shit. And that scene, man, oh my God. Then the dream comes out and they go, yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. Isn't that a great way to get away with doing it?
Yeah.
Like, should we do that? Oh, no, we shouldn't do that after they did it. What about Schindler's List portraying a Nazi sympathetically? No, I think Schindler's List would be, I mean, he was saving white people. Saving other white people is okay. And I'm not being facetious here. I'm being honest. I think that would be fine.
It depends who you ask, I think. The Black Hebrew Israelites might have issue with it.
Oh, God. I saw Ice Cube. I follow Ice Cube, and he's been on a tear lately. He went to the the Egyptians were black bullshit. Okay. All right. All evidence to the contrary.
Well, facts being all evil and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, you missed this part, Jack. Last night, he told people not to spend their money. When this is all over, don't spend your money, because if you do, nothing's ever going to change, and they'll just keep treating people unfairly. Like, bitch, you're a multimillionaire. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Everything you could want. Fancy cars, a big-ass house. I bet he even picked out China. I bet he eats off of really expensive plates.
And then just throws them in the trash like my buddy does.
Like, don't spend money. Sounding communist as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of commies who are rich. I am tired of rich commies.
Yeah, the champagne socialists are the absolute worst because they're such hypocrites.
He's annoying with Denzel is a Scientologist? Is that what you're talking about, RJ? I love Denzel interviews because Okay, you know who? Or well, have you ever watched Snoop Dogg? Jack, watched him give interviews or talk at all?
Yeah.
That motherfucker's high 90% of the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
And sometimes he doesn't make sense, but a lot of times he still makes decent sense. Denzel, who I'm pretty sure is stone cold sober when they interview him, sounds like he's got a brain injury.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think Denzel's a reasonably intelligent person that doesn't interview well, whereas Snoop Dogg's an idiot that does interview well.
Which is why it's great. I love Snoop, man. He's dumb as shit. James Colley, thank you. Anne Frank was reincarnated. She refuses to take showers. Can you blame her? Can you really blame her? Dragon Mage, thank you so much over on the Streamlabs. He's bringing up have you seen the PlayStation 5 stream? I thought it was okay, but they went a bit over top with the women. You know what's funny, Dragon Mage? I told the guys last night, and this is the thought I had as I was watching it. I did watch it because I'm interested in the PS5. I don't know if I'll have money to get one. That'll be something I have to save up for. But about halfway through the show, when they're showing the new games coming out, Jack, I was like, they really, really, really want me to know they like women protagonists. Just one after another, women. I don't have a problem with a woman protagonist, but it was like getting beat over the head with it. I understand.
Beat over the head with your patriarchal privilege, mister.
Well, there's this one game, I forget what it's called, but there's this chick who apparently she goes through a sequence and dies every time and wakes back up. It's like Groundhog Day, the game, but weirder looking and deadly. And the first thing I thought when I saw this is, I wonder if you can play a male character. Do I have to play as her? It didn't look interesting to me anyway, but I was like, can you play as a male?
Why would you want to? Women are strong and empowered, and men are scum.
Check Your Logic says, I only seen the Spider-Man trailer. The Spider-Man trailer pissed me off for two reasons. One, they're going Miles Morales on this one.
Boo. Not real exactly. Spider-Man.
And then two, the majority of the trailer was cutscenes rather than gameplay. And the gameplay from the original Spider-Man, and from what I can tell in this one, is good enough that you don't have to do that. You could have done the actual gameplay with a voiceover. And I want to see it because that's what's important to me on that game, whether or not I would be interested in getting it. If they kept the gameplay the same as the first Spider-Man or the PS4 Spider-Man, hell yeah, I'll get it. I don't care. I'll pretend that he's not Miles. At least I don't have to play a stupid Miles Morales. In the original Spider-Man game, the one that everybody loved from the PS4, Jack, there's a sequence where you have to play as Miles Morales.
Why?
But you don't play as Spider-Man Miles.
It's because he's not Spider-Man.
You don't play with any powers. He gets trapped in some burning shit, falls around, and his dad gets shot or some stupid shit. And you play him walking around trying to get around fire. Like, why is this even in the game? You have to play a couple levels as fucking Mary Jane. And it's not Mary Jane.
No, that's pandering. We got to have a woman in here somewhere. We got to have some minorities because white men are evil.
You have to play as Mary Jane, and when you're playing as her, you're a photographer for the Bugle.
No, she's a model.
Not in this world.
What's wrong with being pretty? That's we have all these people that do like jobs where they're just pretty girls, like thought streamers, that sort of thing. I don't understand why that's not as accepted as modeling. Why modeling isn't considered a real job.
In the first game, Jack, or in the first sequence with her, you're playing as this as a photographer who's going around, I believe it was a museum, excuse me, looking for evidence of wrongdoing. Now, who would be a good person that's a photographer that could sneak around and get around alarms and shit that could be in a Spider-Man game?
That evil white guy. What's his name? Peter Parker.
Spider-Man. For fuck's sake, it's a Spider-Man level. It's what it should have been. Pandering fucks. Now, I will say this. I spent literally hours in that game just swinging around the city. That part is so much fun. I wasn't even paying attention to the people getting mugged. I was like, fuck you. I'm having fun. So if it's got the good gameplay, I can afford one, I'll check it out. But that fucking trailer pissed me off. It's just like the werewolf trailer that came out yesterday, I think it was, day before. It's from the vampire world, the masquerade world. I forget what the overall world is called.
World of Darkness.
World of Darkness, thank you. And they have a new werewolf game coming out. And they released a cinematic trailer. I fucking hate cinematic trailers.
Yeah, it doesn't show you anything about what the game's actually going to be like. It's just a lie.
If you watch the cinematic trailers for, say, World of Warcraft 3, or sorry, Warcraft 3, it was just called Warcraft. Blizzard did a fucking amazing job. They're beautiful trailers, but they are nothing like the gameplay.
Yeah.
James Colley, thank you. Have to play as Mary Jane. Can you make her stand on the corner to supplement her income or build established relationship with other women? No, sorry. All you can do is pretend you're Spider-Man.
Is her sequence 77% of what Miles Morales is?
That would be great. No, that game actually starts out with you going head to head with the Kingpin. I'm like, wait, that's how you start this game? And you can't capture him, and there's a big storyline. But that game is fucking amazing. It was really well done. But man, those couple of sequences. Why am I playing as Miles?
Because it's PC bullshit.
Look, it starts. He's been Spider-Man for a while. Obviously, if he's going head to head against the Kingpin and stuff. If you're gonna bring Miles in, at least bring in Miles as his character. You know.
That's fake Spider-Man? Yeah.
Don't have me sneaking underneath burning beams and shit.
So what I've discovered with this substitution bullshit is it actually builds a lot of resentment because I'm not the only one that calls him fake Spider-Man. There are a lot of comic fans that when they see Miles Morales, they just see diversity hire. They don't see him as his own character because he's he's in there because they know that they wanted some PC nonsense.
Guys, donate to Jack and tell him that Miles Morales is the real Spider-Man.
No, don't lie to yourselves and me like that. Somebody might believe you.
Yeah. I was talking with my son about that yesterday. And he's, younger, that generation. He's like, I don't really care. I'm like, I get you. And I understand that. It's stupid comic book stuff. Having a different Iron Man, having a woman Iron Man makes sense. Having a black Iron Man makes sense. Because the superpowers come from the suit.
Yeah.
That's all there. Having a black Spider-Man is a hand-me-down character.
Yeah.
Like, we can't think of anything cool to do with you, so why don't we give you this one?
Yeah, that's pretty much what they did, too, because the substitutions they're making now are incredibly lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when Rhodey became Iron Man, he was a character that had been established in the continuity for a long time. Yep. He had been floating around in the background doing stuff, working with Tony Stark. So it made logical sense that when Tony became a raging drunk, somebody had to take over in the suit. And Rhodey was the obvious choice. Just like you would expect Dick Grayson to become Batman when something happens to Bruce Wayne.
Sure.
So it was a logical progression. Now it's just like, all right, we're done with you, honky, and we need somebody of a different color in here, and that's how we ended up with Miles Morales. We ended up with Riri Williams, and we ended up with Amadeus Cho as the Hulk. So it's just lazy, and they wedge it in there, and it even looks forced. It's not anything productive or healthy to do, and it just builds resentment with the fans.
Dragon Mage, thank you. Don't forget Spider-Gwen. No, Gwen Stacy died. I won't even dignify that. What a shame to do to her character.
Yeah, it's insulting to if you want to tell stories with Gwen Stacy, set them in the past.
Yeah.
Or, an alternate universe might be okay for a limited series, but ongoing, you diminish what the effect of the death means to someone like Peter Parker.
Gwen Stacy, not just to Parker, but the readers, man.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy was his first real love. I mean, he had the thing with Betty Brant. It didn't really work out. It was his first real love, and he really, really adored this woman, and she dies, and that is a major turning point in his story. And you take her character, and she's like, well, soap opera time. She's still alive. We're good. It said, but don't pay no attention to the fact she died, and that led to the end of the Green Goblin saga. Nah.
What's worse, she died because he screwed up. He's the one that killed her by the sudden stop. Because if you read the comic, it actually shows the word snap.
Yep.
Yeah, and they don't talk about that very often, but when it does come up, Peter's aware that he did it because it was a sudden stop, and he knows that's what killed her. Is it broke her neck.
In fairness, I mean, she was going to die if he didn't from the fall. So he was trying to save her, but he still ends up being the one who did it. That was the thing when I first read this, Jack, because I never read an original copy, but they used to do the reprints of it, and I had one of those. And I remember this. I stayed up all night one night reading my brother's comics because all the comics I had used to be his, and I read all of the Spider-Man he had in order, and that one wasn't in the continuity, but it was still, he had shoved it in there where it should have kind of gone. And I read that and I was like, oh, damn. I was like 13 at the time, Jack. And I was like, oh, that's horrible. No, they killed her. And it was an emotional moment for me as a reader.
Yeah. And that's the target age demographic that the story should impact. And because that's who they were aiming at. And then less than 6 months later, they killed her dad too. Captain Stacy, because he died too. Right. And you're like, wow, double whammy. So for something aimed at a very young audience, that's very emotionally impactful. And you're cheating that by having these disposable stupid characters named Spider-Gwen. It's really, really insulting to your long-term fans for a very short-term gain that is still unpopular.
Build up. There are characters out there that are popular, that are women, that are black. Are there popular Asian characters?
There's a few, but they never did that much with Asian characters. There's a couple that are Asian or half Asian.
Right. So, I can't remember any, but you can bring in characters and give them different powers, give them a new origin, give them something different. Do you know how many different bugs there are out there you could use?
True. Well, like Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. He's got his own movie coming out.
Where's Hedgehog Man?
What?
Said, where's Hedgehog Man?
Probably living in the shadows of obscurity where he belongs.
There's so many other things they could do. Yes, Spider-Man is cool and he's your most popular character. There's a reason for that. Don't change it. Don't give a hand-me-down character. I hate that shit. If it's the powers involved, no. Batman, I would not actually have a problem with a black Batman. It would have to be done properly, go through the story, build him up as a character first. And then, he has to step in for some reason. That's fine. Because Batman has no superpowers. Black Superman? That's stupid.
Yeah, and they've done both of these type of things before. It's just, it ends up being lazy. And everybody wants the originals back. Because those are the ones that brought them in. If Clark Kent's not Superman, is it really Superman? Because that's an aspect of the character is the person, is the man as the character. But they've done everything they can to diminish the role of the person behind the cape, And it's really disgusting.
That's what I say. I think they're having a problem in comics right now, or at least it seems that they're having a problem with the thinking that these are old characters. What Spider-Man was 63, I think, when he came out,
right around there.
So if he was a real person, he'd be way too old to be Spider-Man, unless somehow he aged less. He's a fucking comic book character.
Yeah, you just move the timeline up. That's all. Time doesn't mean they're timeless archetypes. You're not talking about real physical human beings. You have to stop looking at them like real physical beings. They're mythological characters. They're an archetype. They're not real people.
Peter Parker can keep being Spider-Man as long as you can think of stories for him.
Exactly. Let me grab a couple.
And he could be 20 in every one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. He never needs to age.
Dude, I got to take some pills real quick. I apologize for the sound, guys.
I'm going to read some Streamlabs so you do that. Thank you, Bubba Hotep. I was going to buy some Miles Morales comics, then thankfully the drugs wore off, so here you go. I'm glad they wore off. Thanks, Bubba. And thank you, James Cowley. Better idea for Spider-Man. Peter knocks up a black woman. Kid grows up to be Wolf Spider because wolf spiders are brown and white. Hashtag better story. I would read that because that's not about Peter. It's about his kid.
Right. And you could do that.
Yeah, and it would be a new character, but that's too much thinking for these guys. They lack originality. Instead, you're creating a superpowered blackface.
You could have Peter's kid start as a baby, and over the course of 2 years, he could be in high school. And you could go through. One of the great things about Spider-Man, especially at the time I read it, Jack, like you said, it was aimed at what age I was. This is Peter starting to go through the stuff that I was getting ready to go through. They made him a real character who had. This motherfucker couldn't win, even when he did.
Yeah. He's a typical tragic character. I mean, he's not going to win everything, but he still perseveres, and that's the point of his personality.
There's one of my favorite Spider-Man comics. I forget which number it is. It's one of the early ones. I have an anthology, hardcover of the first, I think, 30 issues. And I forget what issue it was. It's the one with the, was it the spider catching robot?
Spider Slayers?
I don't think it was that one. Anyway, for some reason, Peter finally agrees to fight Flash Thompson. and he tells himself, I'm just going to tag him just a little bit. And so they get into a boxing ring. And right as Peter goes to punch him, something busts through the door. And I think it was the spider catcher thing, because Peter was, it was going after his spider powers. But anyway, it made everybody look away. And so when Peter hits Flash, everybody thinks that Peter sucker punched him. So he finally gets to kick Flash's ass in front of everybody. And they're all like, you sucker punched him. The only one who didn't think that was Flash. And he's suddenly like, I'm going to stop fucking with Peter so much.
Peter's a little tougher than he looks.
Mm-hmm. So again, even when he wins, he loses. And it was such a good thing to read at that time. And they could do that for kids today, with what's going on in high schools today. You don't have to give me Miles fucking Morales. Unless Peter fucks up, Susan Morales. There you go. Story.
Right. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Have Gwen Stacy as a plot point and an emotional turning point when he goes to an alternate universe of a small series in which he goes to the universe to save it just by seeing she's alive there, but never meets her to protect her. Yeah, there's a lot of things you could do with that, but they have a bad problem of overdoing it and just wedging everything in because they think the readers are dumb and they hate continuity. And most of them aren't that good of writers anymore. They used to have good writers. Now they have garbage.
Danger says, who's Morales and why is Miles fucking him? Miles fucking Morales. Oh, I hate the hand-me-down character thing. Like I said, if you want to do it with Iron Man, I'm okay with it. As long as you build up the character first, you give me a reason that that's the right person for the job. Female Thor, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Athena? Do you know how many different gods they could use? And I know, don't Don't nerd out on me here.
No, I'm not going to, but they have introduced a lot of female gods and friends of Thor, Lady Sif, Valkyrie, but that's not enough.
Right.
They want the iconic character, but they want to change it.
Yep.
Like, they want that status that made it popular, but they don't want to actually have to do anything.
When it comes to the comic books, I have a couple Thor. Like I said, it was my brother's collection before he died, and I took it over. So there's random ones. There's even a couple Rom comics in there.
It's because Rom's awesome.
Star Brand.
Yep.
What other weird shit is in there? Fuck, I can't remember. There's a few odd DC ones as well. But like Thor, I never was interested in. I'm like, I don't care. So I never read those. But even still, like, don't just give it to a woman, you fucking pussies. Let her touch the hammer and turn into Vagina Girl.
Right? No, they can't do that. They have to destroy the evil white man and then bring in this new character, because you're going to love it better because it's the same thing, only improved by not being that white guy.
I'm curious because I don't know the story of her turning into Thor. Isn't it because she grabs the hammer?
Yeah, he became unworthy because Tony Stark whispered something stupid into his ear. So Jane Foster takes up the mantle. She takes up the hammer and the name.
So why didn't Captain America become Thor when he grabbed the hammer?
Well, you're technically gaining the powers of Thor. So, like, when Captain America picks up the hammer, his outfit will change.
Okay.
They didn't do that in the movie, but they do it in the comics. So, Storm picks up his hammer, and her outfit changes to match a more Norse-looking, allegedly, costume. So you can see there's a physical transformation of armor. They do that with everybody that picks up the hammer, but when Jane Foster did it, she just looked like Girl Thor.
Fair enough.
They just got lazy with it because what they wanted to do was substitute all the original heroes, the classic Avengers lineup, and change them to a minority status. And it fell flat on its fucking face. The female Thor was actually a little popular for a while, but the comic readership pool is so thinned out that once it started to become unpopular, it became very unpopular.
Gotcha. I wasn't interested in God's stories. What really appealed to me about Spider-Man was how normal he was. So characters like that are actual gods, I'm like, I don't care. So I've never really been a Superman fan. I don't hate Superman, and I've enjoyed some of the movies, but that's why Batman appealed to me more. He was just a rich guy. He was still a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Fury whispered in Thor's ear, Jack.
Oh, yeah, it was Nick Fury. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant to the conversation.
Monkey, you need to read Walt Simonson's run of Thor from the 80s. Again, I'm just not interested in the character.
Yeah, I didn't like Thor. I still kind of don't. But the Walt Simonson run was great. He did Ragnarok, but he did it correctly. Like, gotcha. more along the lines of the mythology. And it was actually a really good run.
I liked the movie Thor Ragnarok, and I liked it for one reason. It was more comic booky. All of the other movies, which I've enjoyed, I have, but they have a little bit of humor and stuff in them, which makes them more tolerable than like the DC movies. But they still come off as a Hollywood movie, where that one is like there's some silliness in it. There's some outrageous outfits and shit all over the place. And it was something I could see that if I picked up an Avenger comic, I could see that. And it just felt more comic book to me. And so even as goofy as that movie is, I still fucking love it. Nick Fury whispered, "Shh, just let it happen." And that, you don't want Thor having that thought in his head. He whispered, "Silence is consent."
Yeah, he whispered Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. God.
Threw the Norse guy off.
Well, I see Yeah. Ice Cube still hasn't responded. Damn it.
I don't think he's going to.
I was hoping he did.
He's going to respond to a guy named Ranting Monkey. He's probably sitting there swearing at you right now.
That racist bastard. I think what I asked him, Jack, is why he hadn't left. And I am sincere in my question. I asked him if it was, was it because he wanted to keep up the fight, he has family ties, or there's a lack of a place that actually is fair? Because he said, you're never going to be treated fair here if you spend your money. Like, well, why are you here? That's a fair question.
Well,
Kamala Harris didn't answer either.
Who?
Kamala Harris, my question from the other night.
Yeah, well, she's kind of maybe she was trying to look up how much money you make first.
Oh God.
Did you see the Gehenna tourist minister called for black people to leave when you're not wanted?
I did.
That was a little fucked up and kind of racist.
Yeah. That was brought. I didn't see it. I was told about it. Let me be clear there. I haven't actually seen it. But yeah, it's who was it that pointed out? Because we talked about it last night on the show. Like if a white person said that, if you're not wanted here, why don't you leave? That would be horribly racist.
Yeah.
Terry, thank you. Ice Cube is too good to watch the Jackbox streams. I keep tweeting at him. I'm shocked. I wonder if he's actually ever tuned in. Like he ever clicked it and went, nah, I'm not going to watch this.
I don't know. He's kind of old, so he may not understand how links work.
Perhaps. I am curious how many people, like say Ice Cube, if he was given the chance to go to somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in Africa, because he's been very African centric. I'm very curious if he'd go. You can go live over here. We'll pay for it. You can leave. If you'd go, you take all your money with you. Go live high off the hog over there. Good luck getting internet.
Yeah. Oh, he could live like a king, but also not have any internet.
Look, you could tell me, Frank, we're gonna move you someplace. The people are gonna love you. You're gonna be their king. And I'd be like, you know what? No, I'm gonna stay here. I like it where I am. I'm comfortable. I wouldn't even leave, if they're promising me the world. I'm like, I'm going to stay here. I'm comfortable.
Right.
I think a lot of people who talk about how unfair and how horrible things are full of shit and actually kind of like the fact that they can say things like it's unfair here. Try saying that in some other countries.
Yeah.
You seem to like communism. Go say that over in China. I mean, we'll miss you. Good luck in that work camp.
Right.
I'm sorry, that prison. What? The re-education center. How many actors, actresses said they would leave the U.S. if Donald became president? Several. There were so many that were saying it because most of them were saying, I'm going to Canada. The Canada came out and said, no, you're not. Coming here it takes a while, and you're not just walking in. Meanwhile, none of them said they were going to Mexico.
Yeah, apparently they're just racist.
I think they are. They don't like Mexicans. If blacks complain they're oppressed here, why would it be racist to suggest they leave? Because it's racist to tell somebody. It's also questioning their patriotism. But if I were to say, if you don't like it here, why don't you go somewhere else? To anyone of color, that I would be called a racist for it.
Yeah, like Deck Train pointed out, Liberia exists. They took a bunch of blacks after the Civil War that wanted to go back to Africa. So, and they make awesome collectible coins. Or is that?
I wonder how many of them came back.
I don't know. That's a good question. There were some Confederates that went down to South America after that too. Most of them came back because they hated South America.
Well, when we're talking you coming out of slavery, I could see going over to Liberia and being like, okay, this ain't so bad. But 100 years later, I'd be like, my grandpa should have moved back. It's fucking Liberia versus the United States.
Yeah, I've heard Liberia is kind of cool, but I have no interest in going anywhere in Africa because I know my luck, and I don't want to get kidnapped and catch Ebola.
Also, with Africa, man, you never know when a country's going to go fucking nuts. And it's not because of the people. It's usually outside agitators.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not very economically stable in most of those countries. There's lots of bribery and corruption, and which is sad because there's a lot of resources still in Africa that would make most of those countries very wealthy. But there's so much political instability and everybody coming in from outside to steal those resources. Hi, China. Yeah, it's very unstable.
No, it's not China. It's us. We're the bad ones all over everywhere. And these days, China's colonizing Africa. Anthony, we're not allowed to have those hate facts on the show anymore.
Yeah. And this show's already not showing up in my subscription feed. So.
Well, I've gotten 3 hate strikes in a row, Jack. Well, not strikes, but, you know.
Warnings.
No, that's hateful.
Well, not being hateful. We're just assholes.
Well, I really want that. I want them to give me the timestamp so I can find out what it is we said. This is my new idea, Jack. I want to find the timestamps for all the times they're saying I'm being hateful and make a video compilation of it and put it next to Don Lemon some night and see which one's more hateful. Granted, his is hating white people, but still.
Well, I think that's the problem. See, I don't really hate anyone. I just get... I think there's a few people I probably actually hate, but most people just are annoying, and I don't think about them.
Yeah, me too.
They're mention them and then move on with my day.
Even people I hate, that's how I treat them. If I am going to talk about them, I talk about them, then move on with my fucking day.
Yeah, I got other stuff to do.
Yeah, it's okay to hate, Pete, guys. Just don't obsess. That's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Frank, thank you so much. An hour and 54 minutes until my 60-hour work week is complete. Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Getting close, man.
Yeah, get some rest. Do something fun.
Monkey, so basically you want to do a video like Crowder's apology. No, Crowder just went through and apologized for the horrible stuff he said in a manner that allowed him to read them again. I want to put it up against Don Lemon and see which one of us is more hateful. Because I'm betting it's Don. And you know what? To be fair, since there's 2 of us most of the time, we should include Chris Cuomo in that.
Yeah.
Jack and Monkey against Don and Chris, and let's see which ones are more hateful. Because I have a feeling they'd win that contest, Jack.
Yeah, they probably would. I think they would, but I think it depends on which politics you have.
All right. Jack, I'm at 2.5 hours, so I'm going to wrap up, bud.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate that you guys tune in whenever this pops up. And remember, we don't always pop up in your feed, so follow us on Twitter. Links are below. Jack, is there anything you want to show?
No, I'll have some new videos coming up today. I've got to upload them, so it'll probably be around 2 p.m.
All right. I want to thank you guys for the donations because I forgot to do that. Thank you so very much. You guys are so generous, and I really do appreciate it. We literally are brought to you by you. You are our commercials.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
I will be doing a game stream here shortly if the satellite's working okay, because I haven't done one in a little bit. So if you're into that, tune into Ranting Monkey Games and watch me on Twitter. I don't have a Ranting Monkey Games Twitter. I was wondering about that, Jack. I'm like, should I make one? I'm like, nah, forget the password. So, Nuts, thank you so much for dropping our Streamlabs link throughout the stream. We love you, sweetie. Everybody, have a great Friday. And I mean that this time. I know I say it all the time, but I really do mean it. Go out there, have yourself a great day. The day is what you make of it. And I'm trying to be Tony Robbins here.
Oh, well, do something exciting by watching P-Dog Night. No, he's coming up shortly.
Play with yourself. Take that how you will. Guys, have a great Friday, and we'll see you next time. Jack, thanks for joining me. And bye, guys.
Bye.
Go touch.